Hi, welcome to On This Day in Tudor History with me, Claire Ridgway, and Madge the cat. Hello, Madgie. You shouldn't be on the worktop, should you? No, naughty Madgie. Now, where am I taking you to today? Well, I'm taking you back to the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. For on this day in Tudor history, the 5th of September 1569, Edmund Bonner, Bishop of London, and a man nicknamed Bloody Bonner died in Marshalsea Prison. Now let me tell you a bit more about this bishop who got his nickname from being in charge of burning reformers in London. Edmund Bonner was born in around 1500 in the reign of King Henry VII, probably in Hanley in Worcestershire. His parents were Sawyer Edmund Bonner and Elizabeth Frodsham, although it was rumoured that his real father was George Savage, rector of Davenham in Cheshire. He was educated at Broadgates Hall, now Pembroke College in Oxford, where he studied civil and canon law. And in 1526 he received a doctorate in civil law and was admitted to the College of Advocates in London. In 1527 he undertook a diplomatic mission to the Netherlands, and by 1529 he was serving Cardinal Thomas Wolsey as a chaplain. In August 1529 he went to France on a mission for King Henry VIII. And following Cardinal Wolsey's fall in 1530, he served Thomas Cromwell. In January 1532, he was sent to Rome by the king, and in 1536 he was sent to negotiate with the Protestants of Denmark and northern Germany. 2 years later, the king sent him to negotiate with the Holy Roman Emperor regarding a general council, and then he was sent to King Francis I's court in France, where he served until early 1540. He served as an ambassador to the Emperor in Spain and Germany in 1542 and 1543. Bonner was elected Bishop of Hereford in 1538, and then in 1539 he was elected as Bishop of London, following the death of John Stokesley. In Edward VI's reign, Bonner opposed the religious changes implemented by Edward Seymour, Duke of Somerset and Lord Protector, and also Archbishop Thomas Cranmer. In 1549, he was committed to Marshalsea Prison and deprived of his bishopric after he'd neglected to enforce the Act of Uniformity and the Book of Common Prayer. He'd also preached in support of the miracle of the Eucharist and had not followed orders to preach in support of the king's authority. The accession of the Catholic Queen Mary I in July 1553 led to Bonner's release and restoration as Bishop of London. Bonner set about restoring the old faith in London, and in 1555 began his persecution of people he deemed heretics, for which he became known as Bloody Bonner. His Oxford Dictionary of National Biography biographer Kenneth Carlton notes that of 282 burnings recorded in episcopal registers for the period, 232 took place in the dioceses of London, Canterbury, Norwich and Chichester. Half the burnings in these four dioceses took place in Bonner's See of London. In 1556, he was involved in the degradation of Archbishop Thomas Cranmer. Now, Mary I died on the 17th of November 1558, and her Protestant half-sister Elizabeth became Queen Elizabeth I. Bonner refused the oath of supremacy in May 1559, and so was deprived of his bishopric once more. In 1560, he was imprisoned again in Marshalsea Prison. In 1564, he again refused the oath, a capital offence, but he escaped death when he argued that the consecration of Bishop Horne, who'd tendered the oath, was not legal. He spent the rest of his life in prison and died in the Marshalsea on this day in 1569. Bonner's written works include Responsum et Exhortatio in Laudem Sacerdotii from 1553, articles to be inquired of in the General Visitation of Edmund, Bishop of London, 1554, and homilies set forth by Edmund, Bishop of London, to be read within his Diocese of London of all parsons, vicars and curates, and to their parishioners upon Sundays and holy days, from 1555, and a profitable and necessary doctrine with certain homilies adjoined thereto, 1555. His role in the Marian Persecutions was emphasised by the work of martyrologist John Fox, and Kenneth Carlton concludes he seems to have become more violent as he grew older, perhaps as a result of his harsh confinement in the early 1550s. Even so, it is possible that some of his reported excesses of behaviour were intended to frighten heretics into recantation and so to save them from the flames. Although clearly a difficult personality, it is nonetheless unfortunate that his reputation for cruelty has come to overshadow many years of valued service to both church and state. Bonner was buried at St George's, Southwark, but it is thought that his remains were later moved to Cotford near Colchester, a manor held by Bonner as Bishop of London. Also on this day in Tudor history, the 5th of September 1548, Catherine Parr, Henry VIII's sixth and final wife, died at Sudeley Castle in Gloucestershire. At the time of her death, Catherine was the wife of Thomas Seymour, Baron Seymour of Sudeley, her fourth husband, and she'd given birth to a daughter, Lady Mary Seymour, on the 30th of August 1548. You can find out more about Catherine's burial, the discovery of her remains in the 18th and 19th centuries, and her present resting place in last year's video, and you can find a link to that in the description for this video. Thank you for joining me. You can subscribe by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified as these videos go live, and you can give me a like and leave me a comment. I'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Bye bye.